thank you, and welcome. And in this week's show, Locke, Scott, and two smoking Beamers. Now, thanks, everybody. Thank you. Now, I want to begin by talking about money. Bear with us on this one. You see, if you'd put £35,000 in a saving account in the year 2000, you'd now have around £60,000. However, if you'd put that same £35,000 into an E-Type Jaguar, you'd now have £100,000.
Yeah, just about everything, even remotely rare or interesting, is worth a fortune these days. Aston Martin DB5, that'll cost you £750,000. Ferrari Daytona, £600,000. A Pagoda roof Mercedes SL, that'll set you back at least 75 grand now.
Yeah, it's not just exotic cars either. Ford Escort Mexico, OK? Humdrum car. That's a £60,000 thing these days. 60 grand.
It is. However, there are one or two rare and interesting cars that seem to have slipped through the net, whose prices haven't yet gone through the ceiling.
So we decided to get out there and see which of us was best at spotting that investment opportunity.
Exactly. So we each bought a classic car. And then to see which one of us had got the best deal, we took the grand tour to what one of our producers, who's Scottish, always says is the best, most beautiful place on Earth. Scotland. We chose for our meeting point a quaint fishing port near Inverness. And I was the first to arrive in an Alfa Romeo GTV6. Now, you would imagine that when one of these comes onto the market, classic car enthusiasts are running around like they're in a zombie movie and it's Black Friday. But no, I bought this from an 83-year-old man who'd had it since new and was only selling it because his 84-year-old wife found it so difficult to get in and out of. 26,000 miles, and yet it cost £10,000. £10,000, that's a round of drinks in the world where this sort of thing belongs. Oh, hello. James May in a Lancia Gamma Coupe. It's one of the prettiest cars ever made, but don't tell him I said that. Morning, May. How much?
£13,500.
Oh, so £3,500 more than I paid for this vastly superior Alfa Romeo.
Well, £13,500 is a bargain for a car that is coach-built and extremely rare and beautiful.
But it isn't exotic like this is.
What do you mean it's not exotic? That is a better-looking car.
What is this?
Yes!
It is superb.
It's not superb.
I tell you what's not superb. Richard Hammond arriving in a Fiat X19. How much?
£2,250.
Somebody saw you coming, Hammond.
What? For a baby Ferrari? 2,200...
Did you just call it a baby Ferrari?
He did.
Because it is mid-engined Italian. It's exactly what it is.
Well, listen to that sound.
I know.
That is the reassuring sound of tin on Russian steel.
It's a light, bright, effervescent sound, just like the car.
How many colours has this car been? It was black, then it was red, then it was white, then it was pale blue, and now it's purple.
I'd like to add, actually, it's not how many colours has this car been, how many cars has this been?
Well, quite. It's now going brown.
Brown, yeah.
All right, then, I'm not going to turn around and try and work out which Alfa you bought.
The best
Oh,
Alfa.
it's a GTV6.
Exactly.
Yep. Why has it got this plastic bit in the middle of the bonnet?
Genius. The engine in this car had a small issue. It used to backfire, well, front fire, actually, and blow the top off the engine, yeah? So that would damage the bonnet, so they put this plastic panel, which was easier to replace.
Why didn't they stop it backfiring?
Oh, don't be ridiculous.
They were busy.
Lazy.
Yes, let's not get bogged down with some of the Alfa's minor design flaws.
Disasters.
Because all three of us have got classic cars.
I have, yes.
For good money.
Mm-hmm.
We're in Scotland, so why don't we take them on a drive in Well, let's be honest, Scotland is just a road trip.
Well,
I agree.
we could, while we're here, we could do the NC 500. Which, I mean, that is supposed... It's
Voted by Condé Nast Traveller magazine, voted it the best road trip in the world.
mountains, it's just...
All the pretty bits, yeah.
No, it's all the best bits of Scotland, right?
Yeah.
500 miles round the north coast of Scotland.
in Italian exotic
That
cars.
would be... Oh, hang on.
What?
Text. Yeah. Mr. Willman. Mr. Willman. It says those cars will not do 500 yards, leave alone 500 miles. So I provided 3 backup vehicles which you can use to get home when they go wrong and catch fire and explode. I was wondering what they were.
Funny.
How did he know we were going to do 500 miles?
That's a good point, actually, because Hammond's only just suggested it.
Eventually, we cleared the fishing port and found ourselves on the open road, where we could get down to the business of enjoying our pedigree Italian classics.
Lancia mounted the power steering pump on the end of one of the camshafts. Basically, you can't really use full lock, especially when the engine's cold, otherwise the engine will explode. The thermostat was fitted in the wrong place, which leads to overheating very suddenly, and then the engine can explode. And there were some problems with the gasket materials, which causes the coolant to mix with the oil, with engine exploding sort of results. My car is just so refined and sophisticated, and in fact really well looked after by its previous owner. It was obviously loved. One of my windscreen wipers just fell off.
Oh dear.
You can't get out.
We just lift it up. There you go. You just have to drive like that. James, can I just say you've done 3 miles?
It's mended for now. Don't turn it on again.
Let's just turn it on. I want to see what happens.
Right, okay. You ready?
In Scotland.
In Scotland, you won't need it. That's the thing.
Perfect.
Because it
Right.
never rains. Meanwhile, in the GTV6... Oh, no, what's that? Third. Right, good. Third. Fourth. No. Transaxle, gearbox at the back, twin plate clutch, discs all round, unusual at the time. One of the best engines ever made, 2.5 litre V6. Oh! Whoops. No! That'll do. Oh, dearie me. However, despite all the weirdness, I do still absolutely... Right, good. Third. Fourth. There we go. Transaxle, gearbox at the back, twin plate clutch, discs all round, unusual at the time. One of the best engines ever made, 2.5 litre V6. For God's sake, that will do. Oh, God. However, despite all the weirdness, I do still absolutely... Right, good. Third. Fourth. There we go. Transaxle, gearbox at the back, twin plate clutch, discs all round, unusual at the time. One of the best engines ever made, 2.5 litre V6. For God's sake. Oh, God. That was stupid. Oh, dearie me. Oops. However, despite all the weirdness, I do still absolutely love this thing. It was my ownership of a GTV6 that taught me what cars are all about. You need a personality, you need flaws for them to be human. And James May was right for the first time in his life, and only time in his life. This is one of the greatest engines ever made. The creamiest, the smoothest, and the most beautiful to listen to. That's not exhaust noise. That's an actual engine. As James and I enjoyed our classic thoroughbreds, Richard was driving along in his purple Fiat.
Unleash 80 horsepower. Go! One slight complaint about the Fiat, the pedals are very, very small and very close together. And if you try and operate them with, let's say, your feet, you'll find that your feet are too big. Really, you just need to use a toe on each. Oh my God.
Driving along in his purple Fiat.
Unleash 80 horsepower. Go! One slight complaint about the Fiat, the pedals are very, very small and very close together. And if you try and operate them with, let's say, your feet, you'll find that your feet are too big. Really, you just need to use a toe on each. Oh no. Oh, for God's sake. Oh dear God. God. Oh my God. Unleash me.
Soon, Hammond spotted a racetrack and suggested we have a go on it. And as we pulled up, it became clear that tiny pedals weren't his only problem. That's quite high revs.
Yeah, idle's quite high, yeah.
Is that its idle speed?
Yes, it's keen.
Since this was actually a go-kart track, it was too narrow for car racing. So I decided we should have a drifting competition.
It doesn't work. It simply doesn't really have the power to throw its tail out properly.
Even though my Alfa had twice the horsepower of the Fiat, things weren't great for me either. Just grip and more grip. I know Roger Moore drifted a GTV6 in Octopussy, but then he crashed into a fence and had to dress up as a clown.
In the Gamma, I was confident I'd succeed where my colleagues had failed.
Right, here we go. Lancia is one of the greatest names in rallying history. So, control drift should be second nature to this. So approach that corner, heel and toe it, and... Brake, lift off. No.
At this point, I suddenly remembered something important.
This is front-wheel drive, isn't it? What was I thinking of? It's not going to drift.
Happily, though, the enthralled local audience were able to find a solution.
What I do is I take the rear wheels off, let the tyres down, and put these plastic covers on, then put the tyres back up again, put them back on. That gives the car the loose back end you want to drift. These are just... This is like putting insulating tape on the back wheels of your Scale X-Tric cars. Stand by.
With no help from anyone else on this freezing day, the drift covers were soon fitted.
Oh, here we go.
Oh! Right, turn in, get the drift going, and...
This entertainment went on for quite some time.
Full throttle. Oh, I shouldn't feel so good, but it does. Oh, that's interesting.
This entertainment went on for quite some time.
Go! They have the brakes. This is just brilliant. Concentrate, look at the bend. This is quite a complicated one.
Turn the steering wheel! Yes!
This entertainment went on for quite some time.
Away. Forward. Ow. Keep going. Here comes a really dangerous bit. Rubbish.
And hold it.
Turn the steering wheel!
Yes!
This entertainment went on for quite some time.
Full throttle. Right then, let's go. Oh no! Danger! Rubbish! Rubbish! Go. Slight slow there. Help! Dab of brakes.
And hold it.
Turn the steering wheel!
Yes!
This entertainment went on for quite some time.
Away. Rubbish.
This entertainment went on for quite some time.
Oh, that's interesting. Go. Rubbish. Oh no! Full throttle. Yes. Concentrate. Look through the bend. This is quite a complicated one.
And hold it, hold it.
Turn the steering wheel!
Yes,
Turn
yes,
the
yes.
steering
He
wheel!
did a thing to it.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. This looks like a lot of fun. We're going to do that. We're going to try it.
Oh, no, there's the only set.
What are those things?
Yeah, they're the only set, so we can't do it.
Well, no, we can make some.
Did you ask if you could borrow this, Ben?
No, but they won't need it. And rotate. This goes over. It'll require a little bit of persuasion.
James May just
Yeah,
drifted perfectly behind you there.
This is another of those weird days.
With his tyre covers made, Hammond decided not to hold back.
Oh, this is going to be...
I mean, seriously, he's going to get to that corner and then... Where can the helicopter land?
Again. Keep going. Oh, my word. Try it now. Oh, no. Right, we're all set. Give it everything you've got. Oh, for God's sake. Oh, God. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, here we go, here we go. Oh, for God's sake. Let's just try again.
Where can the helicopter land?
Go! Oh, no. Come on, it's in here. Oh my God! Plenty of power, this is good. for God's sake. Oh, my God. This is dangerous because of you. Oh, God. Gotta keep the pressure on. Oh, my God. Wow, this bit is really scary. Oh, come on. Slightly alarmed. Oh, what a victory! Let's just try again. Right, one of them, that's fallen off. That could be interesting. And I am turning in, drifting. Oh no, I've got no steering.
Annoyingly, Hammond's dismal failure didn't stop him fitting his ridiculous contraptions to my precious Alpha and insisting that I have a go. Think of the trouble Alfa Romeo went to make this car exquisite. Think of the trouble that Pirelli went to make the tyres grip properly. And then along comes Hammond with this. Go. That is very nicely done indeed. No! Oh, God. Oh, that's will do. Oh, no. Oh, dearie me. What was that noise? Whole car's vibrating. Yeah, that's a massive vibration. Hammond, you blithering idiot! You totally ruined this car! An inspection of the undersides revealed some grim news. That has come off. Let's do this.
It always does.
Go, go, go! Oh, God.
Hang on.
Oh, for God's sake. 20 miles. Through this.
It always does.
We're off. Oh, for God's sake. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, my. Oh, God. Oh, for God's sake. Oh! Oh, my God. Oh. Are you ready? Oh. 20 miles. Through this. Free.
It always does.